Rays, spring training rolls on. The bats are showing some pop, and the Rays have tightened up the ship. With the new season just around the corner, it's all about timing. Rays baseball coming at you next. Tonight, we greet you from Charlotte County, Florida. Spring training baseball from the Grapefruit League. The Tampa Bay Rays play host to the Boston Red Sox. It is a gorgeous night for baseball as we welcome you. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Statz. Great to have you aboard. We'll be hearing from Todd Callis in just a few moments. The Rays tonight will send Andy Sonnenstein to the mound. He's the lone holdover from last year's bullpen, and following him, Brian, will be some strong arms the Rays are counting on to rebuild the foundation of their bullpen.
Yeah, Andy Sonnenstein, and then a lot of new faces for this Rays ball club. You're going to get a chance to see Kyle Farnsworth out there tonight, a guy that figures the pitch at the back end of ball games. He's got a big arm, brings a certain toughness to the bullpen. Juan Cruz, very intriguing. He's coming off a shoulder surgery last May, has had a very good camp. And then how about Joel Peralta? What he did last year with Washington, outstanding, a 170 batting average against. He pitched in 39 games, had a great year. You see the experience that these guys bring, and that's what the Rays are going to be counting on, because these guys are going to be pitching towards the back end of ball games, trying to carry that bullpen early in the season.
After a slow start this spring, the Rays have won 7 of their last 10. They've gone 5-3 here in their home spring ballpark. We'll be hearing from Todd Callis. He'll chat with Carl Crawford when we return. Rays baseball just around the corner tonight against the Boston Red Sox.
Welcome back to Charlotte Sports Park for a little evening baseball tonight. As the Tampa Bay Rays welcome in the Boston Red Sox, we're joined by former Ray who spent his whole career with Tampa Bay, Carl Crawford. Carl, second time back, is a little better this time around than it was the first time when everything was a little unusual?
You know, it's still unusual for me, and but it's a little easier this time. But I got a chance to see all the guys again, and catch up. So it was cool. It's always nice to see the guys again.
Now, you know how much love the Tampa Bay Rays fans have for you, and there might have been a misunderstanding when you said this offseason about your heart being with Boston. This is our first telecast since you've left the team, so what do you want to say to the Rays fans?
I just want to say, I'm always have love for you guys. I had a lot of fun here. Like I said, what happened in Boston is just one of those things to where somebody just wanted to get a quick paper sold. But I love you guys here, and I wish things could have worked out better. But I'm always, have you guys in my hearts also.
We miss you already, CC. Thanks, buddy.
All right, big man.
Carl Crawford, guys, playing for the other side tonight. Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. Just moments away from the first pitch here as the Rays and the Red Sox will play in front of a sellout crowd tonight. Let's take a look at the Boston lineup. Jacoby Ellsbury leads it off. He'll be in center field, followed by Carl Crawford hitting second, and J.D. Drew will play right field and hit third. Jed Lowry is the cleanup hitter and shortstop for Boston. Daniel Nava is the DH. Yamaiko Navarro at third. Nate Spears, who is a local product here from Charlotte High School, he'll play second base for Boston. Drew Sutton is at first, hitting eighth, and Mark Wagner will do the catching and bat ninth. And Andy Sonnenstein, turning 28 years old today. Just a year or two older than you, Brian.
Yeah, right? Andy making the start. You see what he did last year, mostly out of the pen. Did have 4 starts. This will be his 5th spring training appearance. Got off to a rocky start at the beginning. He's kind of honed his mechanics in, increased his arm speed, and has been pitching much better as of late. Let's take a look at the Rays defense behind Andy, left to right in the outfield. Manny Ramirez, B.J. Upton, and Matt Joyce across the infield, third to first. Evan Longoria, Elliott Johnson, Sean Rodriguez, and Ben Zobrist. Kelly Shoppach gets the call behind the plate.
And there's Terry Francona in his 8th season as the manager of the Boston Red Sox. He has been very, very good in that role for the Red Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury leads it off in the first pitch from Andy Sonnenstein, and it's in there a little bit too high. 1 ball, no strikes. Ellsbury is having a very good spring, and that's good news for Boston. Right back to the hill. Sonnenstein with the toss to Zobrist at first, and Ellsbury is retired. Yeah, Andy in the first start or two this spring was pretty deliberate out there as Carl Crawford steps in here, and a mixed reception again for Carl.
Yes.
Crawford hitting .219 for the spring, had a couple of hits in their game yesterday. See his numbers a year ago with the Rays at .307.
I'll tell you what, down on the field earlier today, Carl Crawford looks like he's put on some size.
He has indeed. There's never been a question about his strength.
No.
But if it's possible, he's even stronger now. And also bigger. Breaks his bat and rolls it foul. The count advances to 1-2.
Well, he did some training, some hardcore training this offseason out in Arizona, and he has definitely put on noticeable size. Some guys come into camp and they look like they're a little bit bigger, but Carl Crawford really stands out as a guy who put on significant size, and it'll be interesting to see because so much of his game is about explosiveness, whether it be in the outfield, out of the batter's box, stealing second base. See if that's affected at all with that increase in muscle mass.
Pitch stays wide, 2-2. That's going to be interesting. We'll see a lot of Carl Crawford as the Rays and the Red Sox play 18 times during the regular season.
I think he just wants to get that home run total up over 20. He got so close last year with 19. What do I have to do?
Rays last year won the season series between these two clubs. Rays winning 11 of the 18. chop to right field. Joyce with the sun to contend with makes the catch. Matt Joyce trying to track that one as the ball was hit directly to him, meaning that he had to look directly over the grandstand and into the sun.
And not for very much longer. You can see that the sun's almost all the way down, but that is a dangerous. And you see where those glasses are.
Apparently a fashion statement.
He figured he didn't have a whole lot of time left. The shadows almost reached him all the way out there in right field, and that was a missile.
Well, strike the count here to Drew.
Off the bat of Carl Crawford, and sometimes those balls knuckling, you get the glove up in front of the face and hope it goes in.
Rays have put the shift on after the first pitch to Drew. So they have Longoria alone on the left side and overloading the right side of the infield with Rodriguez moving into shallow right. A ball, 2 strikes.
Well, that's what you like to see out of Andy Sonnenstein, is that good, sharp breaking ball. He started a little bit early in the spring, which is not atypical of a finesse pitcher, trying to get his command location down and off-speed pitches working.
This went back through the middle, and that's going to be a base hit. Which left up a bit, and Drew took it right back through the middle.
And I was going to say, not very good command on that one. Way too much at the plate, and that ball's elevated around thigh high, and J.D. Drew a nice job of going right back up the middle, and Andy just about wore it.
You know, the thing I've liked about Sonnenstein the last few times out, and he's doing it again here in this start, is J.D. Drew, before that last pitch, actually stepped out and called time because Sonnenstein was ready to pitch again. He was not wasting any time out there. First couple times out, he was much more deliberate, taking more time between pitches. He was taking a lot of time unloading pitches to the plate. And so everything's quickened up for him. There's a little more sense of urgency, if you will, out there with Andy. And I think that's something by design from Jim Hickey.
I would agree. I think a lot of times, you know, early in spring training, sometimes even during the season, if you're working on something new, you have a tendency to go out there and you're thinking about it too much. It hasn't become second nature yet. So you're out there thinking about, you know, maybe it's something that's mechanically, you know, an approach, a certain pitch that you're working on. And, you know, you go out there and when you think too much, things start to slow down. You're not as free and easy. There's no rhythm to what you're doing. And I think you're right. I think Jim Hickey, you know, got into Andy's head a little bit and said, listen, let's have an idea. Let's go out there and get after it.
Well, one thing about it, you're not going to think the ball across the plate in the areas where you want to put it. You're going to have to throw it there yourself.
Absolutely. And this could be, too, you know, after a couple of outings, Andy is getting to be, you know, he's getting more comfortable with the things that he's been working on this spring. So now it's just about going out and doing it. Like you said, Dwayne, you've got to establish a good rhythm out there on the mound. You put everybody to sleep.
A ball and 2 strikes. He's tried to throw that pitch a couple times, and it stayed up, and that one a little away as well.
And more times than not, you're trying to go, you know, with that backdoor off-speed pitch, you have a tendency to let your body, your top half, get out in front a little bit too quick. Your arm drags. You're not able to get on top of the ball, and it stays up and away. There's another one.
The count squares at 2-2.
Right now, Andy's front side, he's kind of, you know, sometimes you want to aim that ball to the plate with your shoulder, your front shoulder, and really get it down and into the pitch. Well, when you do that, you leave your arm hanging out to dry. It's never able to catch up. The ball stays elevated in the way.
And there you get strike 3 call in the upper reaches of the strike zone to retire the side. Bottom of the first coming, no score.
Come along for the
But he's prepared. Rays coming into bat in the bottom of the first inning. And let's take a look at the Rays lineup. Vin Zobrist will lead it off to play first, followed by Johnny Damon, who's the DH tonight. Evan Longoria hits third in front of Manny Ramirez at left. Matt Joyce at right. B.J. Upton hits sixth. John Rodriguez, Kelly Shoppach, and Elliott Johnson, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters.
And making the start tonight for the Boston Red Sox, right-hander Tim Wakefield. See the numbers from last year. Appeared in 32 games, 19 starts. He has been around pitching for a long time.
Yeah, he's 44 years old.
He
right
wants
now
to pitch to that uniform number.
And here's the challenge already for Mark Wagner, the catcher.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
good luck.
Yeah, have a good evening. 1-0 the count. 2 balls, no strikes. You know, it's amazing. You think of Tim Wakefield and the Red Sox. He started more games than any other pitcher in Red Sox history. And he's accumulated more innings pitched than anybody else.
That is hard to believe. Talking about a storied franchise, been around for a long time. And I'll tell you what, you have that knuckleball and keep yourself healthy. I mean, he just keeps flipping it up there.
Ground ball, that's fair. And by the bag, up the right side, kicking off the sidewall. Drew plays the carom, and Zobrist is in with a stand-up double.
And you're so used to seeing that knuckleball that fastball sometimes will catch you by surprise even without the good velocity. Tim Wakefield not afraid, falling behind to go with the straight stuff, and that ball just caught too much of the plate and been almost too far out in front of it, but he's able to keep it inside the bag at first. Leadoff double.
Johnny Damon hitting .310 for the spring. And he takes the ball. Last year with the Tigers, hitting .271. This one is popped up, foul ball, and Wagner's after it and makes the catch, hangs on for the out. One out with Zobrist still at second base. And now Evan Longoria to face Wakefield. Evan hitting .281. 22 home runs last year and 104 runs batted in. He has 1 home run this spring. That's a strike.
Evan should benefit greatly with Manny Ramirez hitting behind him once the regular season starts. The way Manny's been swinging it here in the spring, especially as of late. I'd like to see those power numbers start creeping back up to what Evan was able to do in 2009 when he hit 33 home runs.
There's Manny on deck. And he chases this one. So Evan is out on strikes. 2 gone.
That knuckleball took a left turn on the way to the plate, really dancing away. You see the awkward swing by Evan Longoria. No real way to prepare for a knuckleballer.
And here is Manny. A couple of home runs on the spring and hitting .290. And he takes a look at a knuckleball for a strike.
Well, he hit a home run here the other day in that game against the Marlins. Deep to left center field, but the sound off his bat, was starting to wonder if it was aluminum. So loud.
Yeah, that pitch was down, and he lifted it out of here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with Manny. He's got such a great approach at the plate. Hands directly, takes him right to the ball. A great swing path. Boy, if he's able to get a ball that's down and away from him, get his arms elevated and get some backspin, they will go a long way.
1-2.
There's that same knuckleball. I don't know if that's something that Tim Wakefield can even remotely control, but it's got some nice dart, late dart, towards the Rays dugout. Which is on the first base side.
And this one is popped into center field. Jacoby Ellsbury is there, and the Rays do not score. Zobrist left at second base, 2-1, no score.
We have a scoreless game here at Charlotte Sports Park. That is Stephanie Kersey and 4-month-old Noah Kersey, the latest addition. Congratulations to Stephanie and to this guy, the enforcer, Scott Kersey. Life's a little different, huh?
Absolutely. A lot less sleep. A little chaotic at some moments, but it's all great.
So we have a little enforcer in the mix. Do we know, right-hander, left-hander, we know yet?
It really doesn't matter. I think he's going to play guitar anyways.
Wow, how about that? Well, here we are in the bullpen. We're actually out in the Rays bullpen right now. And Kurs, I've got to say, I know a few of the guys I've had a chance to meet, but it's a whole new crew this year, huh?
It's still a lot of new faces, a lot of turnaround, but there's some jobs available and open for these guys, and we'll see. We're going to see here in the next couple of weeks who's going to be in the bullpen.
It's been interesting because sometimes you have guys going for spots when there's this many spots, and you have to earn it. And it seems like there's been more than enough guys that have earned it this month.
You know what? There's a lot of these guys have been pitching well, especially if some of you guys tuned into yesterday's game when we were up in Tampa. All the pitchers that pitched yesterday were all relievers, and they all threw the ball really well. And the same goes for tonight's game. There are a lot of relief pitchers, and we'll see what happens.
You've got Sonny on the mound as he starts things off for the Rays here against Daniel Nava this inning. Now, normally down here, your partner in crime is the Sugar Bear, Bobby Ramos. But during spring training, Shuggy ends up in the dugout, and you've got Stan Borowski down here. How's life different for you in the bullpen with Stan as opposed to Bob?
Well, you watch a lot more of the game instead of a lot of dancing. There's less dancing among the staff, and there's less color commentary. But it's all good, And Stan runs a pretty tight ship down here, and we call him Sergeant Stan. And if you ever get a chance to look at him, he looks just like he's a Marine. So,
guys, I better get out of here. Sergeant Stan and the enforcer. It is not safe in the Rays bullpen tonight. Back to you.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good move. So, with Nava at first, Jamaica Navarro is the hitter. Young infielder fouls this one.
He must not be running that tight of a ship. He's going to let Callis down in there.
Yeah, and apparently there's no dress code either. Yeah, it's hard to see those umbrellas and those chairs there and think that it's a real tight ship.
I was going to say the thatch huts.
Here's Navarro Taking another pitch down. 2-1. There you go. Yeah, that's more like the bullpen cruise than it is a tight ship. And it's a shame, Bobby. That's a great environment for Bobby Ramos.
Yeah, you know it is, but I agree with the spring training setup, because to subject Scott Kersey and the rest of the guys down in the bullpen to Bobby Ramos for any more than a regular season and a playoff run is just asking too much.
And we're not sure if he's talking about what happened with that last pitch or his latest dance step right there.
You're right. Could have been talking about last night, dinner, the sink on the fastball.
Now it's 3-1. Sonnenstein behind Navarro. And there is ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Sonnenstein.
And that's a quick way to get yourself into trouble. 2 back-to-back walks.
Well, Red Sox 10 pitches in this inning, 8 out of the strike zone.
Yep, and you're talking about a team that, during the course of a regular season, of course, they're not running out all their regulars tonight, but you give them free passes, give them 2 base runners without even having to put a ball in play, and you're asking for trouble.
Well, here's Nate Spears. The last time the Rays played the Red Sox here, this young man had a great day. He had 3 hits. Last year, 20 home runs at Portland, the AA level. And there's a first pitch strike from Sonnenstein. Spears out of Charlotte High School. He had 2 singles and a triple, a run scored, and a couple of runs batted in that game. Hits it sharply. Look out, fellas. Off the front of the dugout. Duck in a hurry over there. Two strikes.
You see that ball get rocketed over to that dugout again. You can't help but think about what happened to Luis Salazar in the Atlanta dugout. Getting hit with the line drive off the bat of Brian McCann. Ended up losing his eye.
This one is down, 1-2, and through all of that, Salazar making the point for McCann that it was certainly not his fault, and he felt terrible about that.
Well, the thing about it is when you're out on the field as a base runner or a guy out there playing, you're anticipating contact, the ball coming to you. Your guard is let down a lot of times when you're over in the bullpen. You could be talking about any number of things. And those balls, guys get out in front on them and jerk those line drives. There is no reaction time. No reaction time. And most of the time, like I said, these guys, they're not ready to catch a baseball.
They're not?
Not right now.
2-2. Very close, but that's a ball, and the count is full. No, you're right about that. Guys in the dugout, they're not thinking about that. And you don't have that reaction time. Nava back in at second. Elliott Johnson getting the start at shortstop. He's battling for one of the extra men's spot on this club, and his story has been, I think, a good one. He's had great perseverance in the organization, was dropped from the 40-man roster, and still wound up playing at Durham and has battled. There's a strike. Spears caught looking. That's the first out.
A good fastball here by Andy Sonnenstein, going for the do or die right on the black. Catches it, picks up the first out.
One away with runners still at first and second. And here is Drew Sutton. drops that one in there. Strike one. This is the second meeting this spring between the Rays and the Red Sox. They'll play 4 games. The Rays won the first game back on the 10th of this month, 8-6. Rays had a lead, lost it, and came back to win it. Hot shot, one hop. Rodriguez, Johnson, 1. First base, Zobrist, 2. 4-6-3 on the double play to retire the side. 2 walks, but a strikeout and a double play takes care of that threat. 2 an inning and a half, no score.
Speaking of all here, look at that guy. What do they call this one tonight? The monster moon? Said it's supposed to appear 10 to 15% bigger than normal tonight.
Really?
I did. I read that. Yeah.
This is going to be a great year.
Yeah.
I mean, working with you, it's going to be great.
Super full moon.
It's a super full moon. And
full moon.
Todd Callis chimes
of
in
course.
with that.
Yeah, I figured everybody just assumed that.
Yep. Well, I'm sure before the season is over, we'll have any number of lunar discussions.
There was a super full head of hair there on Evan Longoria, also out tonight.
Matt Joyce fouls this one back. That's a strike. Well, that's not exactly an edict, but something that Joe Madden is encouraging. In fact, Joe says if he can grow his hair, if he can get it to grow, he's going to do a little of that.
I will be spending very little time in the Rays clubhouse this season.
Well,
I like Scott Kersey's little baby. I like that hairstyle.
The super moon look.
The super full moon look all year long, people.
Yeah,
there it is. I
Noah.
like that look.
Yeah, look at Noah. Two balls, 2 strikes. And look, I'm not sure. Kersey's out of the bullpen. Hey, a line drive and a base hit into right. Joyce is aboard. He'll make the turn, and the ball skips away. He's going to head into second base. And that's a good bit of base running right there by Matt Joyce.
Absolutely. Starts right out of the batter's box. Matt Joyce hits that ball hard. A lot of guys right here thinking a line drive to right field, right at the right fielder. Does a nice job, you see there, keeping the hands back. Body a little bit going forward, kept the hands back, rifles that ball out to right, but because of the good break out of the batter's box, anticipating the hard turn at first, when the ball gets away from J.D. Drew, he's able to skate into second base. That's what happens when you bust it out of the batter's box and put pressure on the defense. Sometimes you'll get those opportunities where they make mistakes.
And the knuckleball on the first pitch to Upton popped up. That's Lowry at shortstop handling that. So Joyce still at second with 1 away. Got to support the team.
I guess.
Here's Sean Rodriguez. And there's the strike. Sean is still trying to make the point that he could play against right-handed pitching because that's what prevents him from playing every day at second base right now. And he does point to his numbers in the minor leagues. He hit against righties in the minor leagues. Of course, there's a difference between the minor leagues and the big leagues.
Yeah.
But, and you can look at those numbers. Obviously, much better against lefties, 292, 229 against right-handers. But if it ever happens that he can play every day, hit enough right-handed against righties, I think people would come to understand what a quality second baseman he is.
He is. I love watching him out there at second base. Tremendous range. A guy who never gives up on a play. You remember a couple of the little bloop hits that he took away. Blue base hits last year, running over the shoulder catches. Very athletic, good range, good turn at second base.
Yeah, and for that reason, I think he's the most unrecognized, outstanding second baseman in the league. He is very good, and he's going to have to hit enough against righties to establish that he can play every day. And if that happens, a lot of people are going to be much more aware of how good he is defensively. And that's an important part of this ball club, is the Rays have the great starting pitching, trying to rebuild the bullpen. You want to support that pitching as well as you can defensively. And so they think with Brignac at short that defensively they're going to get great play right there. And Rodriguez will give him great play at second base. Important, as we all know, to be strong up the middle.
They will turn some double plays this year that will make you go, wow. Two athletic middle infielders. Very good with the glove.
And this ball hit high into right center, slicing toward Drew, who makes the catch. Joyce goes to third after the catch. So the Rays will have a man on third base with 2 outs.
Well, you'd like to see them get Matt Joyce in. Second inning that the Rays were able to lead off the inning by putting a runner out at second base. Right now, Tim Wakefield just one more out from being able to squeeze out of this little mini jam.
Kelly Shoppach. One ball, no strikes. Shoppach 4 out of 19 at the plate this spring. This one is down 2-0. Contact, or really lack of contact, was a problem last year for Shoppach, and so far this spring he has 4 strikeouts and 19 at-bats, and that's a small number, but it's a big improvement, and he gets hold of this one, hits it out. Kelly Shoppach got a 2-0 pitch ahead of the count, sends that one over the left field bullpen. And the Rays are out in front 2-0. That was contact and then some.
Yes, it was. And if you had any doubt about this, all you had to do is look at the reaction of Carl Crawford out in left field. The ball just floats down. Good stiff front leg. Launches that ball out to left field. Carl standing out there, the ball was hit. He just looked up and then followed it right over his head into the stands. Didn't even make a move for it.
So the Rays grabbed the early lead. That's the 16th home run of the year for the Rays this spring. Strike to Elliott Johnson. The count is 1-1. Johnson's had a good spring. Fouls this one. 1-2. He's been aggressive. He has 6 stolen bases, coming in hitting .278. So he's trying to show not only does he have versatility defensively, but he can steal a base.
Well, he's on the right team, the right manager, the right way of playing the game with that versatility to be able to play those infield positions, the outfield. But look at his offensive numbers from last year in Durham. Hit almost 320, had 11 home runs, drove in some runs, had 30 stolen bases in Durham. And you look at a guy like Elliott Johnson, he's a big kid, and you don't look at him as a guy who's going to run and swipe a lot of bags, but he did it last year in AAA and so far this spring.
And he draws the walk. So Elliott Johnson trying to make this team, and has certainly helped himself with his performance this spring. Felipe Lopez in camp as well, trying to win a spot as an extra man, and that's pretty much the battle between those two. Lopez with more big league time and experience. There goes Johnson, and he is in with a steal. Wasting little time, jumps on that first pitch, and is 7 of 7 in the stolen base department this spring.
Well, you knew it was just a matter of time, and it didn't take long, like you said, Dwayne. He's got the knuckleballer on the mound. He gets a decent jump there, but with the knuckleball, the ball takes a lot longer to get to home plate. Runs well.
This one lifted back into right field. Drew will go to the wall, and that one is gone. Then Zobrist hits one out, a 1-0 pitch. Zobrist hit that one over the right field bullpen out of here. His second home run of the spring. So a pair of 2-run home runs for the Rays in the second inning, and they take a 4-0 lead.
Well, just another knuckleball that just hung right out over the plate, and that's what they tell you. See it high, let it fly. These balls have a tendency to flatten out. The more elevated they are, and Ben Zobrist put a charge into that one.
1-0 the count to Johnny Damon. So a double and a home run for Zobrist tonight. It's 2-0. Three and nothing. The Rays the double in the first by Zobrist. Now they have 3 hits and 4 runs in this inning. A roller to second. Spears with the throw to first. Damon's out of there. And the Rays are finished, but they put a 4 spot up in the second. We go to the third. The Rays on a pair of 2-run home runs by Shoppach and Zobrist have jumped to a 4-0 lead.
Four nothing in favor of the Rays as we head to the third inning. We are joined by Stuart Sternberg, owner of the Tampa Bay Rays, on just about a perfect night for baseball, Stu.
I'll even go past just about and say it is a perfect night for baseball.
Perfect night as the Red Sox come to bat here with Mark Wagner leading off against Andy Sonnenstein. Stu, I know certainly when you looked at this team in February, you're probably feeling better about it than you were in January after the signing of Damon Ramirez. Are you now feeling better about it in March than you did in February?
Well, the key right now, March, is that everybody's healthy. I do think that, as in years past, we keep our guys healthy and healthier than the rest of the league. It'll lead to some very good things.
Very good things, although people aren't expecting it. Could be a return to the playoffs?
Always could be. But as you talked about a bit in the offseason, we had some challenges ahead of us, but also opportunities, and it was exciting for the baseball guys and for us, Matt and I and Andrew to just try to figure this thing out. And we were sort of counting on some things to possibly fall into our lap. And as you talked about, specifically with Johnny and Manny, they did. But on the other side, we had some issues, trying to fill a bullpen out, and that's still yet to work itself out.
That certainly will be a focus here in the final 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, we get ready for opening day. I guess you can't wait.
Absolutely. It's going to be another wonderful opening day. We're April Fool's Day this year we're opening, and we get to raise another banner, which is always pretty exciting, winning the American League East two of the last 3 years. Ouch.
Jacoby Ellsbury up the middle for a base hit.
That's pretty special for us, and to be able to do that again opening night and have the whole weekend to celebrate will be great.
You talked about the challenges that you guys had this offseason. Are you as pleased as you could be with the way not only this team set up for this year, but what you were able to lock in terms of building for maybe 2-3 years down the road?
Well, a big part, yeah, absolutely. A big part of it is still to be played, because we have through some painstaking effort and through some I would say some pretty shrewd dealings and whatnot. It's Carl. It's still difficult.
Miss this guy still?
It's going to be hard. Well, it was pretty fait accompli that he wasn't going to be back with us. But to see him in this uniform, it makes it a little difficult. But so much for that. That's wait till the regular season. But the big part as well is what we were able to do in the draft picks we have stockpiled for this June. And we are putting an enormous amount of emphasis and effort into making certain we do as well as we can with those, because in addition to the trades that were made in the offseason, adding to our farm system and then further adding to it coming this June is what's really going to be what drives this organization the next 5 to 10 years.
So many draft picks there, and that's going to be about as exciting as you can have for the first-year player draft in June. I want to ask you about, there's been a lot of reports out of New York about Major League Baseball going from 30 to 28 teams, and maybe you would own another team, and the Rays are on a possible list to be contracted. Is there anything for Rays fans to worry about with these rumors?
The only thing I could say is I know nothing about them other than what I've read. The extent of what I know is exactly what any fans know from reading the papers or hearing the radio or reading blogs. Past that, we're on par. There was a discussion years ago before we got here about contraction with the Twins, and things turned out beautifully for them. Contraction with the Expos, they ended up moving to Washington, and are in line to have a tremendous team for years to come. So all the talk the last time was before we got involved. But when people go to the negotiating table, and when you look at the economics of baseball. We see a little bit of football going through things right now, and a business is thriving, where all the teams in theory are making money, and this is clearly baseball. There are a number of teams that are losing money year in and year out, or many years, finding it hard to compete. So they're trying to find a better way, possibly, and that's been an avenue that's been kicked around before, but I know nothing about it personally.
I guess when you talk about the Twins, and it's a full count here to Carl Crawford with one out, that's not a ball four. That's not a bad blueprint to follow if that follows for the Rays.
Yeah, it's interesting. When we came in the first day of news conferences and the interviews I gave, people asked what are you going to be, a Moneyball team, or this team, a scouting team, and all. And we really, at the time, I said we were going to be a hybrid, which is basically what we are, and just try to do things smart. And with a plan, and stay to your plan and react to market conditions and conditions that are there. There are a lot of things that are just beyond your control, but the Twins were clearly a team that we looked at as a blueprint, not just on the field, but what they were shooting for and able to accomplish off the field, and to move from a dome, the Metrodome, which was clearly a worse environment than we play in right now, Twin Cities, the same sort of thing. Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's amazing. It's like those Lincoln-Kennedy comparisons. There are a lot of they've got issues with cold weather. We've got issues with the warm weather. So there are just a lot of similarities. But to look what they've done, and they're one of the high-revenue teams in baseball now, and their facility is just, I was up there when they were building it and went back again. It's incredible, and they've been able to keep their star player, a guy like Mauer and others for long periods of time, and filling with scouting and just doing a great job.
Stu, as always, we appreciate the time.
1, 2, thank you.
Just like that, guys. Gotta end the inning. We'll be back with the Rays batting in the bottom half of the third. Stu, thank you very much. 4-0 in favor of the Rays after the double play.
Here in Charlotte County. Don't miss all the great moments during the Rays opening week, Friday, April 1st through Wednesday, April 6th. The Rays take on the Orioles and the Angels. Visit RaysBaseball.com to get your tickets today. The Orioles end for the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday series, and then the Angels end for just 2 on the following Tuesday and Wednesday.
Did you say that we were playing under a Todd Callis full moon?
Absolutely.
It must be on cable then.
Here's Evan Longoria to lead it off. Fouls it back. And a strike. Longoria, Ramirez, and Joyce. Little part of this Rays order. Even chased a knuckleball his first time up there as Wakefield got ahead 0-2. A high fly ball back into left. That's got some carry and is gone into the bullpen. Longoria hits his second home run of the spring, and the Rays lead 5-0. The Rays have hit 3 home runs in the last 2 innings and now have a 5-run lead.
Playing long ball off Tim Wakefield. Knuckleball that started to break a little bit down and in. Evan got extension on it. He's able to collect another home run for this Rays lineup.
Here's Manny Ramirez swinging through that one. Strike 1.
If you're a pitching coach and you got Tim Wakefield out there, he's struggling right now. He's giving up 5 runs here into the bottom of the 3rd inning. I mean, what do you tell him? What do you say to a knuckleball?
You really don't say anything. That's why, for a manager and a pitching coach, a knuckleball pitcher, really, it's a love-hate relationship. Here's a guy who made those great pitches to Longoria and Ramirez in the first. That knuckleball was just dancing away from them. And then he follows that up in the 2nd inning, giving up 2 home runs. The home run here to Longoria in the 3rd. And managers love a knuckleball pitcher because he can give you innings, and you can plug him in a lot of different roles. But boy, trying to get a catcher, number one, who can catch the knuckleball. And if that knuckleball is not knuckling, this one deep down the line, and that ball is fair and gone. Manny Ramirez hits one out down the left field line, and the Rays Rays lead 6-0. Well, Ramirez straightened out that knuckleball.
Yeah, just kept it fair. That ball was hit a ton, easily clearing the back left field. I don't know if you'd call it a wall, but over the fans and out of the stadium. That ball down and in, towering. You could see Manny with a little bit of a lean there, tried to keep that thing fair, but that was a no-doubter.
Matt Joyce takes one that floats high. Yeah, Manny hit that one completely out of the ballpark.
With room to spare.
1-1 to count. It's the third home run for Ramirez on the spring. A ball, 2 strikes. Six runs, 6 hits for the Rays. And it's a 2-2 count. Count still 2-2. Well, of the last 6 men to come to the plate, 4 have hit home runs for the Rays. There's a little tap. Wakefield with a toss to first to Sutton. And Joyce is out of there. First out in the Rays' third.
That was 4 home runs out of the last 6 at-bats?
Yep.
Well, maybe we can get Todd to talk about my inning in Baltimore again. We can throw that up.
Yeah, I know it. Well, that just wasn't right.
I did 4 out of 5. I one-upped him.
On a ground ball, base hit up the middle. So Upton jumps on the first pitch, as he did in the second. This time he has a base hit up the middle, though. And the Rays have 7 hits. Well, the first pitch that's not knuckling, the Rays are trying to hit. Here's the Gulfstream scouting report on B.J. Upton this spring. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, B.J. having a nice spring. Good average, couple of home runs, some damage there with the extra base hits. He's worked on this spring and spreading his batting stance out a little bit, trying not to have as many moving parts as he had last year. You know, there are a lot of guys that will stand in the batter's box and get the bat going. You know, Gary Sheffield comes to mind where there's a lot moving, a lot going on. But boy, once that pitcher is into his delivery, boy, he would get ready to hit and be ready to hit. Where BJ, a lot of his extra movement, and at times he had a 3- and 4-part swing last year. You could see how spread out he is. The foot coming back, pretty simple there. Trying to time up a knuckleball, not easy, but staying with that up-the-middle approach with those spread-out legs, trying to cut down some of that movement. And it's paying dividends here in spring training.
Yeah, and he'd probably still like to cut out a little more of that movement.
There's still some extra movement in there. But, the work that he's done with Derek Shelton, and at least initially.
Here's a recovery by Wagner, and they're going to get Upton. It's a nice recovery by the catcher, Mark Wagner. And he throws out Upton trying to advance on that ball that popped away.
Well, BJ's anticipation right there was not great. A lot of times you want to take that secondary lead, anticipate the ball in the dirt, so when it goes there, you're off and running. He had come to almost a stop and then tried to pick it back up. See right there, he's flat-footed, almost leaning back towards first base. And with that ball not rolling far enough away from Wagner, he's able to make the throw, strong throw down to second and get him.
So now it's 2-0 to count to Rodriguez.
That's why they teach you, you take that secondary lead out there, it's 1-2 hops, and if you anticipate, see that ball in the dirt, you're gone. And BJ there just caught flat-footed. And
a nice recovery by Wagner, the catcher, but he did get a little assist from the plate umpire, Darren Boudon. That ball got a part of the plate umpire. And Wagner alertly took advantage of that, grabbed it, and throws out Upton. And Rodriguez chased that one as it moved away from him. Rays are finished in the third, but they get back-to-back home runs from Evan Longoria and Manny Ramirez. And at the end of 3, it's 6-0 Tampa Bay. From Longoria and Ramirez, and Evan figures to benefit from having Manny hit behind him, but Ramirez thinks Evan's got a chance to be pretty good in his own right.
I think he could be like Alex, a guy that could hit like 30 home runs and hit 300 every year. But I could tell you this and that, but we just gotta go out there and prove it. So let's go and see what's going to happen.
Jed Lowry as we go to the fourth inning to see what's going to happen. And the pitch is a strike at the knees. Well, I think Manny said what counts would be action, would be results. We can talk about it all day, but what you really do is what counts.
Well, you could tell right there that Manny didn't have a whole lot of interest in talking. He was just like, you know what? I'll tell you, I'll give you a little snippet of something, but I've got somewhere to be and something to do. But he's absolutely right. You can talk to your blue in the face, but you got to do it out on the field.
An 0-2 count to Lowry, Nava, and then Navarro to follow.
And I think that's what we've seen for, you bringing in Johnny Damon and Manny Ramirez, two of your two big offseason signees, and these guys are motivated to play, motivated to get off to a fast start, both on one-year deals. Both want to continue to play past this season. So you're getting some veterans with some very good track records that are out to prove the naysayers wrong and get back into the game at an elite level.
And Lowry is out on strikes for the second time. So one away here in the fourth inning. Well, let's take a look at the Manny Ramirez comparison of Alex Rodriguez and Evan Longoria. This would be through their first 3 full seasons in the big leagues, and those are pretty comparable numbers.
322 average from Alex Rodriguez, and very impressive.
What a start to a great career.
Boy, because he got out to a real quick start, 19 or 20 years old. I mean, he was not long for the minor leagues, getting drafted out of high school out of Miami. And that, I'll tell you what, that graphic, too, was quite a relief, because when Manny said that Evan has the chance to be like Alex, I was thinking to myself, sorry, Manny, but I believe already that Evan Longoria is a better player than Alex Cintron, without question. And so, thankfully, that graphic cleared up my faux pas.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. 2-1. Just another reason that this is going to be such a fun year.
It's spring training for everybody.
A 2-1 count to Nava.
Not now.
And that's going to run the count to 3 balls and a strike. Sonnenstein has given up 3 walks. He's had a couple double plays behind him. There's a couple strikeouts in that mix and has allowed 2 hits. Comes back with a strike to run the count full.
Very important for Andy Sonnenstein to be a strike thrower. Does not have overpowering stuff. Is not going to rack up huge strikeout numbers, so he needs to pitch ahead in the count, keep guys off of base.
And he comes back to get Nava. He just went up the ladder with him there.
I think he heard me talk about not going to rack up big strikeout numbers. That was a good fastball there. Full count, kept it above the bat of Daniel Nava. He's going away, a little bit elevated, can't catch up to it.
Yeah, that's a nice sequence there after falling behind. He went 3-2 and just threw it up and by him.
And so often, the closer that those pitches are to a hitter's eyes, as it starts to ride up that ladder a little bit, the ball looks very big to them. Kind of looks like that super full moon that we've been talking about all night. It looks big. They have a hard time laying off of it.
One-0 pitch, and that's skied to left. Ramirez will head back toward the track, still on the grass, and he makes the catch. 1-2-3. We go to the bottom half of inning 4, 6-0 Tampa Bay. Into the bottom of the 4th, second time the Rays and the Red Sox have squared off this spring. There'll be plenty of action against the Red Sox when the regular season begins, and that American League East does not get any easier. Just pick a year, and it's not easy in this division. And look at this breakout.
Yeah,
Brian, right here, and the Yankees, they've got Sabathia. They're trying to put their rotation together.
Well, you talk about the Yankees, and the talk has been, well, who's going to be our 4th and 5th starter? After CC Sabathia. For me, or after Sabathia, Phil Hughes and A.J. Burnett. But,
yep.
You look at Phil Hughes, and he put up some impressive numbers last year, especially before the All-Star break. 11-2, a very good earned run average. After the All-Star break, he had an ERA closing in on 5, had a 7-6 record. So I don't know if he's necessarily a sure thing. A.J. Burnett, I mean, what do you have there? You've got a guy with tremendous stuff. Hopefully, the Yankees are hoping that he can put it all together and be the kind of guy that they expected when they signed him to that big deal. So I think outside of Sabathia, there's really no sure things. And then you get down to that 4th and 5th spot, and maybe their best pitcher this spring has been Ivan Nova, who's absolutely lit it up, who figures to be in one of those spots. And then you've got Bartolo Colon, Freddie Garcia, some guys attempting to resurrect their careers. So there's, a lot of questions in that rotation. I think that's why you saw the Yankees go out and sign Rafael Soriano from the Rays to that 3-year big deal to set up, to make that bullpen as strong as it possibly can because of the uncertainty in the starting rotation.
Yeah, I think having Pettit not come back throws a big wrench into the middle of that rotation without question. And then you've got the Red Sox, and most people, based on what's happened over the winter, adding Crawford and adding Adrian Gonzalez, who we saw him in interleague play and we're very impressed by him. This Red Sox team is going to be a very, very tough team.
I thought that the Red Sox and Phillies already played the 2011 World Series. They were going to do that here right at the end of spring training. This is definitely last year getting shut out of the playoffs did not obviously sit well with Theo and the rest of the gang up in Boston, because they go out and sign Carl Crawford, kind of swooped in at the last minute to grab him. And Adrian Gonzalez, trade for him to come over to play first base. That'll shift Kevin Youkilis over to third base. Look at the numbers. Just impressive all around. Adrian Gonzalez with over the 30 home runs, 101 RBIs in a pitcher's ballpark out there in San Diego. You really got to blast a ball to get it out of Petco Park, and 30 home runs, 100 RBIs out there with not very much protection. You plug him into the middle of this lineup, very impressive all around, but they're going to have to get it done on the mound. And certainly the names they have as starters, very good, but looking for some bounce back out of that bullpen. Jonathan Papelbon had 8 blown saves last year, didn't pitch like he's capable of. Hideki Okajima, not a great year coming from the left side. So they need those two guys to bounce back a little bit this year. They added Bobby Jenks out there, another hard thrower to go with Daniel Bard. So they definitely have a power bullpen. Yeah, they certainly are loaded.
Yeah, they've stacked up a great amount of talent there. And Shoppach heads to first, facing the left-hander Randy Williams. And that ball just got a little piece of him. So Shoppach's at first, and that's going to bring Elliott Johnson up there. Well, they've added depth to the bullpen. You mentioned Papelbon, and he's continued to have some problems this spring. But with Bard and Jenks, and they added, of course, Wheeler from the Rays bullpen to give them more depth there. And you just figure that they have to be, just by accident, they have to be healthier than they were a year ago. They were decimated by health concerns almost in every part of their club,
and still hung around in probably the toughest division in baseball all year long. You're absolutely right, Dwayne, and you certainly have to mention health with this club. You had Dustin Pedroia missed significant time, Kevin Youkilis, Josh Beckett was out. Some guys that are huge contributors, counted on to put up numbers and carry this ball club, missed a significant amount of time. And yet what was amazing about this team is even when they had that full laundry list of guys that were hurt, Victor Martinez was on that list, all these different guys hurt, and the lineup they ran out there was still extremely potent. Dangerous. Scored the second most runs in the American League, and could really slug. But boy, if they stay healthy this year, they're going to be tough to beat.
2-2 now, the count to Johnson. And the Orioles, you figure they're going to be better. They've added some veteran hitters, and but again, even this spring, there's some health concerns with that club already. But if they're healthy, that's another team to contend with. And of course the Blue Jays under John Farrell. That's a new managerial approach for them. And there's another pitch down and in. The count is full. And you see, those are some pretty good power bats right there.
Some thump to go with the lineup that wasn't, it wasn't a bad lineup. They could score some runs. They have Nick Markakis in the outfield. He's a doubles machine. You see the 3 guys they've added here. Brian Roberts, that's one of the guys that needs to be healthy, because he is the guy at the top of that lineup that really is a pain in the butt for pitchers to have to deal with. Not only because he's a good hitter, but he creates chaos out on the base paths. But they've got a very, very young, starting rotation. Led Brian Madison there, Jake Arrieta, a lot of young kids, Chris Tillman, really the veteran on that staff with a few years of experience is Jeremy Guthrie. But they're a team that's looking to improve, and boy, did they do that the last couple of months last year after Buck Showalter walked into that clubhouse.
Well, Kelly Shoppach is not only hitting home runs, but he's stealing bases. He just stole second base as Johnson struck out, and here's Zobrist bouncing one foul for a strike.
This will be the last time I reference it, but that's, again, the super full moon with Kelly Shoppach swiping bags.
Why should that be the last time you reference it?
Well, and it's early, too. I mean, we could hit it a couple more times.
Inning. I mean, we've got a lot of baseball to go, and I think that that moon can be interwoven into any number of scenarios. So I'm just waiting for the next one. Zobrist with a strike the count, and Williams changes speeds on him. Got a little bit of that one foul right back into the mitt of Wagner, and the count is 2 strikes. Randy Williams, a left-hander. There it is. It's affecting not only the game, but apparently this telecast. Speaking of that, Todd Callis apparently has disappeared.
He quit.
And Zobrist is out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Randy Williams. 2 outs with Shoppach at second, and Johnny Damon will bat. Well, Williams at 35, he pitched for the White Sox off and on the last couple years, has also seen some big league action through the years with the Mariners and the Padres and the Rockies. Want to know the count. So the Rays got 6 runs off Tim Wakefield.
Yeah, our crack staff just let us know that Kelly Shoppach has never even attempted a stolen base during the regular season. And I sit up here and wonder to myself, why in the world is he leaving that aspect of his game in spring training year in and year out?
Yeah,
what a weapon.
To add that dimension.
What a weapon.
Yeah.
Doesn't even try. Again.
We're continued to be affected by that. 3 balls, no strikes to count. And that is ball 4 down and away. So the Rays now have men at first and second with 2 outs for Evan Longoria. Well, it's great to have you with us and looking in tonight. We hope you're having a good time. We think we are. Rays lead 6-0. Evan opened the third with a home run, his second of the spring. One ball, no strikes. Here's the home run for Longoria. Off the 44-year-old right-hander Tim Wakefield. Strike takes the count to 1-1. So the Rays seeing some veterans out here. Wakefield 44 and Williams 35. Two balls and a strike. And now now he's up in the count 3-1. Rays dropped their game last night up in Tampa to the Yankees. It was a 3-2 final. That foul ball runs the count full. Andy Sonnenstein making the start for the Rays. Tim Wakefield for Boston. Randy Williams in his first inning of work. And a shot to center. Ellsbury's there to catch it. The Rays will leave 2. We go to the 5th. 6-0 Tampa Bay. Rays lead 6-0 as we go to the 5th inning, and that full moon is shining on Todd Callis, who is standing by. That dugout certainly looks like it could be the House of David down there, and Davey Martinez is with Todd right now.
Yeah, it could be the House of David, but you know, this is baseball. It's not Sportsman's Adventure. But look at you. Everyone's talking about the beard. Before we talk baseball, looking very, very stylish.
Little new look. You know, I didn't expect to keep it, but Joe loved it, and we're going to go with it for a while, see what happens.
Yeah, is there some pressure? How's the family feel about the beard? Is there some pressure to keep it now that Joe's talked about everybody going crazy with their hair this year?
Yeah, my wife's not too ecstatic about it, but you know, she goes with the flow. So you know, it's been a fun thing so far this spring. I get a lot of questions asked about it. You know, people think I got birds hanging in there or something like that. So it's been a lot of fun.
I got to think June, July, August, that's going to be the true test, huh?
That will be the true test. You know, a couple days down here, it's been hot throwing BP, and it's been a little sweaty.
Now, Rays come into this inning leading 6-0. Tim Wakefield, a guy we talked about just a little while ago that used to really dominate the Rays, but tonight, 4 home runs. And a lot of long home runs. That had to look pretty good from here, huh?
Yeah, it looks really good. You know, the big boy stepped up, and like I said, they got some balls up, and they were able to put a good swing on them. And we've been actually hitting the ball pretty good as of late. So I think guys are starting to get their legs underneath them. We're starting to play a lot better. Our defense is looking good. So that's, you know, we're kind of where we want to be right now in spring training.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. In the first, week, 10 days, it wasn't quite as crisp as you would like. You feel like things have really picked up here the last week or so?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, the last probably week and a half, we really started picking our games up. And you can notice, like, guys, especially on defense, you know, our defense has been good. You know, like I said, the timing hitting-wise has been really good. So we're starting to play baseball like we're capable.
You're looking at the 2, 3, 4 hitters now with Johnny Damon and Evan Longoria and Manny. That looks like it might be an area of the lineup that can really do some damage. Yeah,
it sure can. You know, and beyond that, I mean, we put some pieces together. You know, Andrew's done a great job. Joe's done a great job. But I think our lineup's pretty solid all the way through. You know, we got some young guys with some talent. I think BJ's going to have a big year. Jason will come back and have another good year. Zobrist, I think Zobrist going to have a real big year too. So I'm looking forward to what we can do this year and being there at the end again.
Round out to short to start the 5th inning here. You mentioned you think B.J. Upton's going to have a real good year. What have you seen from him this spring that may be a sign that he's turned the corner?
Well, I think the biggest thing with B.J. is B.J. And I think he's got a lot of confidence going into this year. It seems like he's matured. A great example today. We did a fundamental which he came out and actually spoke, and I thought that was great. So I'm looking for big things from B.J. this year.
So he actually helped along with the coaches and what you were doing out there.
Exactly.
Hey, look, when you final thing here, and there's a ball up the middle for a base hit, third hit allowed by Andy Sonnenstein, as there's one out and a runner on first here in the 5th. You guys are a team built on speed, obviously. Have you been kind of under the radar with Kelly Shoppach with his speed? Because he's got a home run in the bag already today.
Hey, my goal, I told him, man, my goal is to get him a stolen base this year. So I'm going to make that one count.
Wait, that's the regular season? That counts for a regular season?
Well, we're going to try to get him one more. So
you promised him you'd get him one bag?
Yeah, I told him. I said, I'm definitely getting you a bag this year.
All right, did we just miss a sign? Were we supposed to? Okay, I'll let you go. See you, David. Bye. Back to you guys.
All right, very good. I was happy to see that Todd got to the stolen base issue.
Todd always on the mark.
Yep. One strike to count to Mark Wagner. And it's popped up. Foul ball. Will it be playable? No. 0-2. 2 strikes. Runner at first is Sutton. One away. Wagner hit a ground ball to Johnson at short his first time. And checked in time. The count at 1-2. So Sonnenstein working 2 hitters into the 5th inning. Rays, after their recent roster cuts with 40 players in camp, 19 of those pitchers. And Wagner hit by that pitch. So Sutton moves up to second, and Wagner hit by that 1-2 pitch.
I know Andy doesn't like the result of that pitch, but I love the fact that he's willing to go in there. I think there were a lot of times last year when Andy started to have a little bit of trouble, there was a reluctance for him to pitch in against right-handed hitters. Sometimes that arm side hitter, guys don't have a whole lot of confidence of shooting the ball in there, and so being in that 1-2 count, and I know that he hit him, but the fact that he's willing to throw it in there, and guess what? That's going to happen time and again. You just hope he doesn't shy away from it now because one pitch got away from him because you need to pitch in there.
Ellsbury loops it into shallow left, and it's just out of the reach of Johnson. That will advance Sutton to third and load the bases. A great effort by Elliott Johnson out there from shortstop. And just like that, the bases are loaded for Boston.
Nothing much you could do there. That is just a no man's land. Get the ball off the handle of the bat. There's not a whole lot of power behind it. Just kind of falls out there into shallow left field. Elliott gave it the best chance he could.
And so with the bases filled, here is Carl Crawford. Carl 0 for 1. He walked his last time. 1 ball, no strikes. downstairs. 2-0.
Come on.
There's a strike. They're loaded with one out. A souvenir. Two balls, two strikes.
Andy trying to go with the backdoor breaking ball there. Really never got to the spot where Carl expected it to be. The ball kind of stayed up and away. A little backup slider that sometimes can be so effective.
And that takes the count full. Andy with 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. A couple of double plays behind him tonight. The bases are loaded with 1 out. Full count here to Crawford in the 5th inning. And he rolls it foul. J.D. Drew is on deck. Rays scored 4 in the 2nd, added 2 runs in the 3rd to build a 6-0 lead, and now the Red Sox have a major 1-out threat going in the 5th. And he just walked it. So that will force home Sutton. That makes it 6-1. You can see the pitch count there just moving over 80, and that strike to non-strike ratio is not what Sonnenstein would like.
Well, and that's not what, if he wants to have success, he can't be just over 50% strike ball. And he's a guy that has to work ahead in the count. He doesn't have behind in the count stuff. He certainly can't be out walking 4 or 5 guys.
So he will depart as Joe Madden comes out to make the pitching change. We'll be back in a moment. Don't forget, Sunday NASCAR on Fox moves to Bristol, Tennessee for their first short track race of the season. Jimmy Johnson tries to defend his title, while Kyle Busch will look for his 4th victory in 5 races on that track. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing presented by GoDaddy.com begins Sunday with a pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific in high definition on Fox. Speaking of high-speed delivery, here's Kyle Farnsworth.
That's why you're the best, Wayne. That segue. Yeah, Kyle Farnsworth coming into this jam, 1 out, bases loaded. See the numbers last year, 60 games with Kansas City and Atlanta. He's going to be counted on to pitch in situations just like this and get big outs towards the back end of ball games for this Rays bullpen. Most veteran reliever out there, 10+ years of major league service. Pitched in over 700 games.
So he inherits a bases loaded situation. Andy Sonnenstein worked 4 1/3. And here's J.D. Drew against Farnsworth. The pitch is down. Sonnenstein
down the middle.
Walked 4 and hit a man. And you know, the interesting thing about the Rays staff this year, you know, there was some concern what would happen with the bullpen, and the early impression was that they were very impressed with the arms. They thought they had, in terms of arm strength, more depth maybe than they'd had before, but command and throwing strikes was an issue. But you know, coming into this game, the Rays staff had walked fewer hitters than any other staff in both Florida or Arizona this spring. The only team, I think, that had walked as few hitters as the Rays would be the Twins. So those two staffs together, individually, they each had walked 55 opponents. There's a strike.
Well, the Twins last year were significantly better than everybody in the American League in walks. That pitching staff is known to go out and pound the strike zone.
And I think that's a number that hasn't been discussed a lot, but you have to believe that Jim Hickey, there's another miss, and ball 4 will force home another run. So here in this inning, a hit batter and a couple of hits and now a couple walks, and the Red Sox have 2 runs. But all of that has been a good sign for this pitching staff, where there were a lot of questions about it. If they can continue to pitch like that, that's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, the bullpen is going to be so key for this Tampa Bay Ray team to be able to contend in the tough American League East, because the way that the way that Joe Madden, Jim Hickey, the way that the starting rotation is run, you put a burden on your bullpen to get big outs at the end of games. I mean, they, with the pitch counts and watching guys' innings, and you figure Jeremy Helkson's not going to be a guy that they're going to run out 200 innings this year. So a lot of that burden's going to fall on the bullpen, and if they are not up to snuff, you're going to see a lot of 2-1, 3-2 leads in the 6th, 7th inning become 5-3 and 6-2 losses. So very, very important. You're going to eat up 8, 9, 10 outs in a game in that division. That guys are getting it done, and that's been the challenge, trying to piece it together.
There's a strike. 0-2 the count. And we have a pinch runner at first base for J.D. Drew, Jeremy Hazelbaker. So he's running at first base for Drew. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To miss. The ball gets away. Down from third comes Ellsbury. So the run scores. That makes it 6-3 on the strikeout of Lowry. But a run scores. Here it is.
Boy, nasty off speed. He's able to squirt right through the 5-hole with Kelly Shoppach. Ball just bottoms out. You see Jed Lowry way out in front. But this is that sloppy baseball that plagued the Rays early in spring training. You have an inning where the Red Sox have put together 1 hit and have now scored 3 runs.
Men at second and third now. The pitch is outside, and with 2 men in scoring position, the Red Sox are a base hit away from making it a 1-run game.
And that's what walks will do. It'll kill you. You hit batters, walks. You have a scenario here where a dribbler up the middle would give Boston their 2nd hit this inning, and they've scored 5 runs. You just can't have the extra base runners out there. put your team in a bind.
Farnsworth behind Nava, 2-0. Foul the other way, 2-1. Ray scored 6 off Wakefield. 3 runs now charged to Sonnenstein. And he throws that one by him to square the count. 2-2. Him out, leaving 2 men in scoring position. We go to the home half of the 5th. It's 6-3 Tampa Bay. Well, the Rays have a 6-3 lead moving into the home half of inning 5. The Rays jumped on Tim Wakefield for 6 runs, 4 home runs. Kelly Shoppach hit a 2-0 pitch out in the second, and Ben Zobrist hit one out to right in the second before Evan Longoria and Manny Ramirez hit back-to-back home runs in the third. Manny took his out down the left field line and completely out of the ballpark. The Rays built a 6-0 lead, and the Red Sox put 3 up in the 5th inning. And as we go to the bottom of the 5th, it will be Manny Ramirez to face the left-hander to get it started. And Matt Joyce and B.J. Upton due to bat. Jeremy Hazelbaker stays in the game to play right field after pinch running for J.D. Drew for Boston. And so here's Manny. 1 ball, no strikes. Manny's home run in the 3rd was his 3rd of the spring. 1-1. Well, Manny, 38. He is out to prove that he has a lot of base hits and extra base hits left. He'll be 39 at the end of May. And he lines this one right to the third baseman, Navarro. Hit the ball on the line, but right to the third baseman. Well, make sure it's in your plans to come out for the season's first Family Fun Days presented by the St. Petersburg Times. Sunday, April 3rd. That's the first weekend of regular season play. The Rays take on the Orioles, and the first 10,000 kids 14 and under receive an AL East Championship mini banner. That's presented by Sweet Bay Supermarket. Visit RaysBaseball.com to pick up your tickets today. There's that 2010 AL East Champion mini banner. Matt Joyce ahead of the left-hander, 2-0. And these are good at-bats for Joyce, who still has to establish that he can hit left-handed pitching. The Rays were encouraged when he was in the lineup against Cliff Lee up in Clearwater against the Phillies, and he swung the bat well against him. And he draws the walk. So with a runner at first and one out, B.J. Upton is on his way to the plate. B.J. has 2 at-bats and has seen a grand total of 2 pitches so far.
Has plans.
1 for 2, that against Wakefield. And if you see something early off that guy that to your liking, you might as well take a big hack. And a little dribbler on the first pitch this time. The throw by the lefty gets Upton. Joyce moves into second as Williams throws out the Rays center field. So 3 at-bats and 3 pitches.
Someone needs to tell him that Wakefield's not out there anymore. He can take a pitch.
Now it's Sean Rodriguez. One ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Rodriguez trying to pick up a 2-out hit to add to the Rays lead. They saw that cut in half in the top half of the inning. Catches the strike zone around the knees. 2-1. Ground ball right side. Gloved by Spears, who gets up and makes the play at first. So he closed the hole on the right side to retire Rodriguez and the Rays. Through 5, 6-3 Tampa Bay. We go to the 6th of the Rays on top 6-3. Rays did their scoring in the early stages of this game. 4 in the second, 2 in the third. And Boston keep it 3 up in the 5th inning. Wade Davis and Jeff Neiman there. They'll go into the 3rd and 4th spots, respectively, in the Rays rotation. That's something that we can get to in a moment. The Rays have made a number of defensive changes as we move into the 6th inning. Kyle Farnsworth still out there after getting credit for 2/3 of an inning in the 5th inning. And Navarro, Navarro's going to lead off the 6th. Rays have the same battery, Farnsworth and Shoppach, but a lot of other changes. That's a strike. Zobrist is out of the game. Sean Rodriguez out of the game. Evan Longoria is out of the game. Manny Ramirez out of the game. B.J. Upton out of there. And Joyce out of there. Ground ball headed toward the middle. Elliott Johnson with a nice pickup and throw to Casey Kotzman at first. And that's a nice play by Elliott Johnson, who continues to impress as he tries to make this team.
Yeah, he's made a number of good plays tonight. This one going back up the middle, setting his feet as best he can and throwing, kind of falling away. Good, accurate, strong throw. The nice stretch by Kotzman. He made another play earlier in the game where he went back on the outfield grass flat-footed and threw a bullet over to first base. Had a lot on it without even being able to step into the throw. So he's had a nice night defensively. That's kind of the versatility and the quality. It's not just a guy that you're going to poke around at different positions because he won't embarrass himself. He can make plays and a good athlete.
Well, he played more at shortstop last year at Durham than he had ever really played there before. And that's a big step in the right direction for him in this whole versatility role that he's after. 2 strikes the count to Spears. And he's played well.
Yes, he has. Well, like I said, he is a good athlete and has adapted well to different positions. Not easy to do.
Fly ball into left. Chris Carter goes back, reaches up and makes the catch. That will be the 2nd out. Now Carter's in left in the place of Ramirez. Fold is in center field in the place of Upton, and Ruggiano's in right, replacing Joyce. There's Ruggiano. The Rays have a Johnson and Johnson left side with Dan Johnson at 3rd and Elliott Johnson still at short. Lopez in there at the 2nd base and Kotzman at 1st. And there's a strike to Sutton.
He's going to say it was a cut. It looks just like a slider.
Sutton 1 for 2. That single came in the 5th when he scored a run.
Went through Shoppach's legs for strike 3.
Serves this one foul. 2 strikes. That's a ball and 2 strikes. Kyle Farnsworth in relief. Sonnenstein worked 4 to 3rd, charged with all 3 runs. They came in the 5th on 4 hits. 4 hit a man, 3 strikeouts. It's going to go through the right side. Sutton pulls it into right. Ground ball, and the Rays with Farnsworth out there.
Well, he came back with that slider, tried to put him away with it the pitch before. The quality of the of the second one, not quite as good, and Drew Sutton did a nice job of staying on that pitch and hitting it hard into the hole. That's the danger with those back-to-back breaking balls. You throw a good one, a guy gets a piece of it. You want to throw it again, well, it better, for the most part, better be as good or better. If not, becomes a fat pitch.
Farnsworth throws a strike. Mark Wagner, the catcher.
Attaboy.
Puts him down 0-2. Wagner, 26 years old. And is out on strikes, retiring the side. Bottom half of inning 6 coming, 6-3 Tampa Bay. And to hit in the bottom of the 6th inning. They lead 6-3 after their 9th win of the spring. They come in with a record of 8-10. The Rays starting Andy Sonnenstein tonight. They have that rotation pretty well established right now. David Price will open the season, followed by James Shields, and then Wade Davis and Jeff Neiman will go 3 and 4 in the rotation. In front of Jeremy Hellickson, who will be the number 5 man. And the Rays, in establishing Davis third and Neiman fourth, trying to look a little deeper than just slotting pitchers on the basis of ability, and these guys are all quality starting pitchers. They're looking at the schedule and how they will be used in the early part of the season. And as it turns out, Neiman in his first 6 starts will make 2 starts apiece against 3 teams. And I think in that first 6-team rotation that would involve Wade Davis, he will make 2 starts against only 1 team. So he'll pitch beyond that against 4 separate clubs. And I think the thinking on that is that because Neiman has a wider variety of stuff, he might be better equipped to face teams repeatedly in a short period of time, and that's what he's going to have to do out of the 4th spot.
Well, I think you're right, Dwayne, and you know that the decision was was not made flippantly. They went back through and probably looked at the history of Jeff Neiman and pitching in those back-to-back situations or facing a team multiple times in a short period of time. And also, I think you touched on the stuff. I think that's the other thing. Jeff Neiman has a wide variety of pitches, speeds. He's got the big curveball, little slider, the fastball. He sinks it, 4-seams it, the split. A lot of weapons there. So, when you're facing a team in such a short window, facing them multiple times, you like to have those guys out there that have a lot of weapons at their disposal.
Matt Albers is the new pitcher for Boston. So Wakefield pitched 3 innings, and they got 2 innings from Randy Williams. And Albers, most recently with Baltimore and now with the Red Sox. And Albers has put together a good spring for Boston.
And he seems to find his way into most games against the Rays when he was with the Orioles. He'll sink it. Aggressive pitcher. Looking to make his mark here with the Boston Ball Club.
Shoppach grounds it to the right side, and that one will skip beneath the mitt of Spears and into right field for a base hit. So Shoppach is on base for the 3rd straight time tonight. And boy, he's having a good night. He should be in the lineup every time there's a full moon. He's actually even stolen a base tonight.
I was going to say, Albers better keep his eye on Kelly Shoppach over there at first base.
Elliott Johnson swinging at the first pitch fastball. Yeah, Albers was in 62 games last year with Baltimore. That was a career high. He led the Orioles in appearances. Fly ball center field. Ellsbury back after it and makes the catch. So Johnson is retired. So now it'll be Sam Fuld. Fuld in the leadoff spot, vacated when Zobrist departed. Zobrist started the night at first base. Ball, no strikes.
Tell you, Sam Fuld has made quite the impression on manager Joe Madden. A lot of nice things to say about this ball player.
And it could come down more and more. It appears that Fuld has been impressive, trying to make the club as an extra outfielder. There goes the runner, and the ground ball to second. The Rays stay away from the double play. That's one thing they're confident with Fuld to start runners because he's a good contact guy, and they stayed away from a potential double play. Started Shoppach right there, and Fuld grounds out. Fuld has made, I think, a good impression along with Elliott Johnson. Those decisions aren't made yet, but I think each one of those guys, Fuld and Johnson, certainly are doing what needs to be done in order to make this team.
Yeah, they've certainly enhanced their chances. Nothing obviously official, but come into a situation where you're trying to earn a spot on a ball club in spring training. Those two have done nothing to hurt themselves.
So the man at second, Lobaton, the hitter, hitting in the place of Johnny Damon. The count is 1-1. Wakefield, Williams, and Albers. And there's a strike over the inside part of the plate. 1-2. Two and two. Albers got to the big leagues with Houston in 06. And spent parts of a couple seasons there. The better part of 07 and then on to Baltimore in 08. the count is full. And a looper into left. Crawford closing. Did he get it? He caught it. That will retire the side. That's one of those catches by Crawford. We've seen that before. And this time he victimizes Lobaton and the Rays. Through 6, Rays lead 6-3. (6-3). The Rays lead this game as we move into the 7th. Rays have led 4-0, 6-0, and now 6-3. They've hit 4 home runs. And they will call upon a new pitcher. Carl Crawford due to hit second in this inning. Ellsbury, Crawford, and then Hazelbaker. And Joel Peralta is the new pitcher following Sonnenstein and Farnsworth to the mound.
Another veteran reliever that the Rays brought in this offseason. Coming over from Washington, you see the outstanding numbers. That ERA just eking over 2. How about the strikeout to walk ratio? 49 strikeouts, 9 walks, and I believe that 4 of the 9 were intentional walks. This guy is a strike thrower, and you can see by that 170 opponent's average, quality strike thrower.
Both working?
So here he is to face the top of the order, Ellsbury. And that pitch is outside, 1-0. Well, the first thing you notice about Peralta is that he sets up a little bit across his body, so he's not going to show you that pitch very easily. He's going to hide the ball well. This one is line foul up the right side. It's 1-1. Rays have Craig Albernaz behind the plate now, and Ray Almeida is the new shortstop here in the 7th inning.
So that's my whole spiel for 1-1 count. Anyway, but you can tell a whole lot of different stuff off of the chart.
Sharply hit foul once more. So an inning and 2/3 for Farnsworth. He gave up a hit, no runs, inherited 3, 2 scored. He struck out 3 and walked 1.
Records how many pitches, records how many strikes.
And another foul ball that moves Ron Johnson the first base coach out of there. And a nice play. Ingenuity down there to corral that one. The cap no worse for the wearer.
New spring training cap.
And he's doing the right thing. How about that? He just made that young man's evening the best he could think of. A souvenir.
And he just gave him his seat. Unbelievable, this guy.
This one into left. Carter toward the line makes the catch. Well, one away with the Rays leading 6-3. And Todd is with the guy who's a big part of that lead right now.
Really was, Dwayne. A home run to get things going. 1 of 4 home runs for the Rays tonight. Kelly, when you face a knuckleballer, Kelly Shoppach, by the way, joins us. When you face a knuckleballer, what are you looking to do there?
Try to make solid contact. I never have before. Faced him numerous times, but I don't know what happened. I just ran into one.
Ran into one, so you showed the power, and then later on you showed the speed.
That's definitely the first time that's ever happened. My career as a professional athlete. I wanted to pick up second base. I thought spring training game, probably not the right time.
We talked to Davey a little while ago, Davey Martinez, and he said he promised you he'd get you a bag this year. Does that count, or do you need one in the regular season now?
It counts for me. I mean, because that just doesn't happen very often. He said last year he'd get me 5, and he gave me no attempts. So if I can get one, I will have filled every stat category.
And then, your last at bat, everybody got 3 at bats tonight in the starting lineup. Your last at bat, look over there first. Were you thinking pinch runner at that point, or you think they realize with that speed they can't afford to take you out of the game?
I really think I made a mistake by making it safe to second. Now they might be expecting too much from me out on the base path.
Kelly, final thing. Whole new bullpen this year. Last year you're learning a whole new staff as the new guy here with Tampa Bay. How's it been acclimating to the new guys in the bullpen, and how have they been? Have they been an impressive group?
Well, they've been great. I mean, they've communicated very well with what they like to do and how they like me to set up and those type of things. And they've all thrown the ball well, so that makes my job a lot easier. They've been very consistent for us, and I really think we got something there. I mean, as many questions as everyone else has. I mean, I think we feel pretty good right now with how they're throwing the ball.
Give us a quick thumbnail on what you like about Peralta. He's really had a nice spring.
Well, I mean, just watch his demeanor out on the mound, and he looks fearless. I mean, every pitch he throws it with intent to get you out. That's a mentality that's definitely needed, especially for some of the young guys that are going to watch. I mean, this guy comes out and throws strikes. Just look at his career numbers. His best careers, the best years are the ones where he just throws strikes and doesn't walk anybody. And, there's definitely something there that you can learn from.
Kelly, we appreciate it. Nice job. A couple firsts, huh? Home run against the knuckleball and a steal. That's a great night. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Kelly Shoppach, guys, back to you.
All right, there's a pretty good play right there. He had Peralta, had Crawford out in front, and then had to beat him to the bag to take the throw from Kochman. And so they get Crawford for out number 2.
Well, ground ball to the right side, Carl Crawford running. You had better get a good jump and hustle over to first base and still barely get Carl Crawford. We talked about the size that Carl put on this offseason and would it affect his explosiveness. Well, the way that he was able to get after that little blue, make the diving catch out in left field, and the way he got down the line right there, I think he's already answered that question, that he is just as explosive as ever.
Yeah, and he's a little, if you're over there covering with your back to him, with his size and speed now, you're not very comfortable.
Yeah, when they teach you to touch that bag with your right foot and then curl back towards the infield, or at worst, run straight up the line with the runner, you had better adhere to that, because if you cross that bag, this guy will put you out in right field.
Top half of the 7th now with 2 outs. And a popper foul, that's going to be out of play. Ground ball right side. Kochman with the toss to Peralta to retire the side. 1-2-3 in the 7th. 6-3 Tampa Bay. Rays baseball tonight brought to you by Gulfstream Park. Come watch the Florida Derby April 2nd. It's all here. Well, the Rays continue to hold this lead. It's a 6-3 ball game in the middle of the 7th inning. Fans enjoying the 7th inning stretch. Rays will have the middle part of the order coming up with Matt Fox now on the mound for Boston. So they got 1 inning from Albers, who gave up 1 hit, no runs. And Fox is on the hill. Dan Johnson will lead it off here for the Rays, batting in the spot originally occupied by Evan Longoria. And in the outfield, changes all around in the outfield for Boston. They move Hazelbaker from right field to center field. They have Alex Hassan in the game and right now in the place of Hazelbaker. And Crawford is out of there. And Chi-Hsien Chang is the new left fielder. Pitch to Johnson. That's a strike. One and one. Lopez will be next. A little bit wide there. And it's 2-1.
Now this is that part of the game where you start to see some offensive lineman numbers creep out, wide receivers, defensive tackles.
And one last funnel cake.
Can never go wrong with one last funnel cake.
And a liner base hit into center field. Dan Johnson has a hit.
Well, a nice piece of hitting there by Dan Johnson. Staying back on a breaking ball. See the hands stay back, the body a little bit out in front, gets that front foot down, a little bit of a pause. Boy, as a hitter, sometimes you can fool a hitter, fool their body, get them out in front a little bit, but if they keep their hands back, they give themselves a chance. And right there, Dan Johnson did a nice job of that, went right back up the middle with it.
Now Felipe Lopez batting for the first time in this game. The Rays now have 9 hits. 0-2. A nice stop on the Boston catcher. Wagner's caught the entire game. Casey Kochman is on deck. Lopez fouls one back. Well, the Rays have on the hill tonight utilized Sonnenstein, Farnsworth, and Peralta. They also figured to see Cruz, perhaps Delaney. This one lined into right. There's a base hit. Johnson turns second but holds there. So Lopez lines a single. The Rays try to build another inning. Two men on with nobody out. America's Pastime returns to Fox Saturday, April 2nd to bring you all the excitement and tradition of baseball's opening weekend. The Tigers take on the Yankees. The Padres battle the Cardinals, while the defending world champion Giants renew their rivalry with the Dodgers. Fox Saturday Baseball returns April 2nd at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific in high definition. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Want to know the count to Kochman?
You know, Dwayne, Casey Kochman is an interesting player that the Rays have here in camp. Always been very good with the glove defensively, trying to regain that stroke. You see his numbers last year. That was in over 400 at-bats, a 217 average, continuing the trend of when he went to Boston in 2009. He was with Boston for 39 games and hit 218.
And he bounces one through the right side. There's a base hit. They'll wave Johnson to the plate, and the throw is in time. Dan Johnson cut down at the plate. Lopez stopped at second on the base hit by Kochman, and the Rays denied a run as Hassan came up with that one and throws out Johnson at the plate.
Now, you don't have full scouting reports here in spring training, especially on the backups. But come up here with a nice throw, strong one hop, easy for Wagner to handle. You see Dan Johnson trying to go outside and around, and he may have gotten in there. That may have been a whiff tag, but close enough to be called out.
Ruggiano on the ground to second, out at second. Spears with a toss to the bag at second base. Over to third goes Lopez, with Kochman forced. Spears to Lowry. Now Chris Carter will get his first trip to the plate. Ruggiano back in at first. A ball, no strikes. Well, the Rays have 3 hits in this inning. 2 outs and men at first and third. Looks at a strike. Carter spent most of last year with the Mets. He did log some playing time with Boston. Pitch is down, and Luciano takes second. He's on the move. So he has a steal as the count goes to 2-1 on Carter. So now both runners in scoring position for Carter. Three and one. Lopez at third. Luciano at second base.
Yeah.
And Carter draws the walk. So the bases will be loaded. And Ray Olmedo is the hitter, batting out of the ace spot, originally occupied by the speedster Kelly Shoppach. Shoppach hit a home run, stole a base, and had a base hit. Hit by a pitch as well. And the pitch is a strike. The Rays with a little threat going, but it'll take a 2-out hit. Olmedo way out in front of that one and way behind in the count.
Good breaking ball there by Fox. Sharp. Got to have confidence in your catcher. You're going to throw that on a 0-1 count with the bases juiced. He's going to be able to block it. Nice job by Wagner.
And Olmedo is out on strikes. The Rays are going to leave him loaded. We go to the 8th, 6-3 Tampa Bay.
We have ourselves a 6-3 game in favor of the Rays. Joel Peralta will pitch his second inning of work here as we begin the 8th as Boston comes to bat. We are joined by team president Matt Silverman. And Matt, as Rays fans around the state watch us tonight, it may be sneaking up on them, but we're 2 weeks away from opening day.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick 2 weeks to get to opening day, and it's an odd setup this year with a Friday, Saturday, Sunday first series. It's going to be exciting to have a full weekend, and what we're hoping to have full crowds all weekend long to start off the season right and get this team going.
I know there was a bigger banner you guys were going to hope to unveil after the playoffs last year, but still a banner unveiling nonetheless.
Yeah, it's an important banner and probably the toughest division in all of sports. To be able to raise that in front of our fans and celebrate last year is going to be special, and it's going to be a reminder of what we're shooting for this year again. And I think we have what it takes. We got the talent on the field, and it's a matter of putting it together and getting through 162 games.
Now, fans will get a giveaway at them on Sunday. It's this mini banner. So they'll be able to raise their own banner in their own home. It's a mini banner presented by Sweet Bay. And then Saturday, this is an unbelievable item. I know we have a better shot than what you might see here as I'm holding this, but an Evan Longoria Gold Glove replica presented by Dex Imaging.
Yeah, it's got his autograph on the bottom. It's actually, Stu just saw it a minute ago and thought it was amazing. He was going to steal it from you when we're done with this. But, yeah, that's one of the best. Our marketing department puts together some of the best giveaways around, and this one is a great one to lead off the series on that first Saturday night.
1-1 to count to Jed Lowry as he leads off the top of the 8th. The Rays leading 6-3. We're joined by team president Matt Silverman. Matt, obviously 4 home runs tonight, and one of them a loud one down the line by Manny Ramirez. He's drawing a lot of attention in baseball for joining the Rays. And what are you getting the vibe from the fans of Tampa Bay and their reaction to you acquiring Manny?
Yeah, no, Manny has quickly become one of the more popular players, not just baseball players in Tampa Bay, but I think most popular sports figures around. And he's got fans all over, but we see from jersey sales and T-shirt sales that he's one of the most popular. Johnny Damon is right behind him, and you still have the mainstays of Evan Longoria and David Price who are selling jerseys. I was in the team store today, Tropicana Field. A lot of good merchandise that is coming in, and one of them is the Manny Dreads.
Really? You can get the Dreads now?
I think the Dreads will be available at Tropicana Field. So accessorize, pick your Dreads, pick your hat, and be your own Manny character.
Now, that is a real good changeup to get Lowry swinging for the first out as Peralta picks up a strikeout. Now, Joe has kind of dropped the gauntlet on everyone, Joe Madden, about growing out your hair. So I guess fans can either go with the dreads or try and grow it. Does this extend to the front office, too? Are you guys being encouraged to go longer hair this year?
No, it's one of the few rules that Stu had. When we had the Rayhawk period a couple years ago, Stu actually said no Rayhawks for the executives. So I don't think he's going to allow mullets or dreads for us. But seeing him on Evan Longoria and Johnny Damon, I think will be fun. And it just keeps it loose, and that's what Joe's known for. And I think it's one of the reasons why we have guys like Johnny and Manny come into play here, is because they want to be part of this clubhouse. It's a great group of guys, and even Joel Peralta, who's been around the league for a while, said he's having more fun this spring than he's ever had before.
All right, Matt, we appreciate the time, and 2 weeks from tonight.
2 weeks from tonight, sellout crowd. Get your tickets and come out and root for the 2011 Rays.
Sounds good, guys. With team president Matt Silverman, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. And, of course, as you mentioned, opening day just 2 weeks away. And that opening day weekend, Rays hope to make that a festive weekend to get the 2011 season underway. Malva's out on strikes, back-to-back strikeouts for Peralta. It's 9 strikeouts for Rays pitching tonight.
Yeah, that should be an exciting weekend. I don't ever remember a season starting on a Friday or a weekend series. You have a team that's going to be celebrating that opening night, winning the division last year, and going to be right in the thick of it this season also.
Now Navarro. And the pitch is a strike. Yamaiko Navarro. He's walked, flied out to left, and was retired in the 6th inning on a good play by Elliott Johnson, who was at shortstop tonight until the 7th. Almeida took over there. We're in the 8th now. One ball, one strike. Shoppach and Zobrist hit home runs in the 2nd. Longoria and Ramirez went back-to-back in the 3rd for the Rays tonight. Part of an 11-hit attack and 6 runs. play.
You get the feeling with Joel Peralta. Kelly Shoppach kind of touched on it in his interview with Todd about how much of a strike thrower he is. You just get the feeling that he can go and get a strike just about whenever he wants it. I mean, the second pitch in this sequence, he kind of turned the back a little bit more, showing more of the back to the hitter, and came with the breaking ball, almost dropped down a little bit and yanked that one out of the strike zone to make it 1-1. But then he comes right back with a fastball right on the black. This is a strike-throwing machine, and when you're coming out of the bullpen, especially late in the game, to get big outs, that's what you have to be. You can't afford to put runners on coming out of the pen. You got to give yourself a chance, and that's what Joel Peralta has done over his career. Boy, none more than what he was able to do last year.
Count is still a ball, 2 strikes.
Throwing, ready.
6 runs, 11 hits for the Rays. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Red Sox. Sonnenstein, Farnsworth, and Peralta. Peralta trying to put the finishing touches to a 2-inning stint. And Navarro lifts it into shallow center. Fold is there to make the catch. 1, 2, 3. Go the Red Sox. Bottom of the 8th coming. 6-3 Tampa Bay. Juan Cruz is throwing in the Rays bullpen as this game goes into the bottom of the 8th. And of course we saw Farnsworth and Peralta tonight. Andy Sonnenstein started. And you know, these other 3 along with Andy, Adam Russell, Cesar Ramos, and Jake McGee, all in the running as well. I mean, the feeling at the outset of spring training was that Russell, because he's out of options, will be a guy who had the inside track.
Yeah, you would certainly think so. You know, being one of the keys to that Jason Bartlett trade. He's a big kid, Adam Russell, 6'8", just working on continuing to refine his command. That's going to be the biggest issue with him. Working, you know, sometimes, 6'8", there's create a lot of leverage, but things can go haywire quickly. So he needs to continue to refine that command. Cesar Ramos, interesting young pitcher, not a whole lot of big league experience, but he does have 3 pretty effective pitches. He's both started and relieved, so he's done a little bit of both. And Jake McGee, of course, very interesting. This guy, one of the top prospects in the game. And then 2008 has Tommy John surgery. And well, there you go.
He was impressive. You know, I thought his arm strength obviously is the big plus. And the one thing the Rays want to do with him is make sure that his slider is developed to the point where he can be effective with that, which makes sense. I think because of that, obviously they don't want to utilize major league time with him if he's not ready to be effective with a second pitch. But he's made some progress with that this spring, and whether he leaves here with the team or not, we don't know yet. But I have to believe that sooner rather than later, he'll be here and could be the guy to close the door in the ninth inning. And if that develops, it'll be very interesting to watch the fortunes of this club then.
Yeah, it is all about the development of that secondary pitch, and it's about being ready. You're not just not going to put a guy in the big leagues unless he's ready to handle the day-to-day rigors and getting out these big league hitters. So, he's got the big fastball. He's got good mound presence. You saw once he went to the bullpen in Durham last year what he did, 27 strikeouts in 17 innings, just walked 3 hitters. It was absolutely dominant in Durham. And outside of that first outing with the Rays, when he came up, he pitched very well in some limited action. But, to be effective, especially if you're talking about closing the back end of that bullpen, I'm sorry, but there's only one guy that I've ever known that was able to dominate with one pitch, and that was Mariano Rivera with that cutter. But he is definitely going to have a secondary pitch, and that's something he's been working very hard on this spring, is that slider. And between what you hear from him and the staff, they like the way it's developing.
Runner takes off. The pitch is a strike, and the throw is not in time. Sam Fuld steals second base. Craig Albarnez opened the inning with a little pop foul handled by Navarro at third. Fuld walked, and it's stolen second base on the first pitch to Jose Lobaton. Lobaton entered hitting in the 6th inning, hitting for Damon, and lifted a fly ball into shallow left that Crawford made a very good play on. Now it's a 2-strike count. Matt Fox still out there on the hill for Boston. A ball, 2 strikes. Rays have led throughout this one. It's a 6-3 ball game. They won 7 of their last 10 to go 8-10. Two balls, 2 strikes. And that will run the count all the way to 3-2. That's a base hit into center. Here comes Fuld around third. He's going to score, and the Rays tack on a run to make it 7-3. Solid base hit by Lobaton. Jose Lobaton maybe robbed of a hit on that short fly ball to left in the 6th, but solidly into center field here in the 8th.
And not this time, he says. Good at bat, falling down early in the count, able to work it back to full and getting a pitch that he can handle. Sam Fuld coming around from second base, scores easily. Rays add to the lead.
And Johnson takes a look at a pitch too high. A ball, no strikes. Two and 0. So the Rays with a dozen hits now. Three balls and a strike. And Johnson draws a walk. So Johnson goes to first. Lobaton moving into second base. Felipe Lopez will be the hitter. And Matt Fox will get a visit. Fox is 28 years old. He spent some time at Central Florida. Pitched there. In the Minnesota system, and the Red Sox got him from the Twins. There's Kelly Shoppach speeding his way through the outfield.
Maybe that's how he trained. He trained this offseason, running with, carrying his bags.
Lopez shoots it into center. Hazelbaker makes the catch. Two gone in the eighth. The Rays have added a run. And Casey Kochman, he had a base hit entering the game at first base and then hitting in the seventh. And Casey's numbers are good this spring.
I'm looking to get that stroke back that he had a few years ago. He hit almost 300 with the Angels in 2007, 296. 2008 had a very good year, and you see him there. Things started to slide. 09 and into last year, that 217 batting average, 414 at bats. So plenty of reps, and just did not put it together. Looking to regain that stroke.
This one bouncing in and skipping by Wagner, who cannot find it. The runners will advance on the wild pitch. And the Rays now have 2 men in scoring position.
Yeah, that ball was just way too out in front of Wagner for him to be able to do anything about it. It's not like the short hop where you can smother it. That ball bounces too far out in front of you, and it's tough to keep it there.
You know, part of what Kochman's trying to do this year is widen his base a little bit more and use all of the field out there. 2-1.
Yeah, you see that often, you know, guys, when they trying to tweak, you widen that stance a little bit, you take out some of the lower body movement, leg movement. Some guys are overstriders, and you know, in BJ's case, there's just a whole lot going on with that front foot. You try to spread it out and take away some of the movement, try to simplify the approach.
Foul the other way.
Well, you see right there, you talk about using all parts of the field. Kochman getting that fastball away from him there, not trying to pull it, trying to hit that ball to left field. Those are the most dangerous hitters. Guys that are willing to use all quadrants out there, because, you know, when you pitch a guy away and he wants to pull all the time and hit you ground balls to second base, they become easy outs. But pitch a guy away, he takes it the other way and then pulls the pitch in. Those guys are tough to pitch to.
Yeah, and if they do that, you know, invariably what they do is work at bats.
Yes.
And it forces a pitcher to expose more pitches in an at bat to a hitter And the more pitches that an at-bat goes, the better it is for the hitter.
And it's mentally exhausting.
Yep. Takes this one foul. And so you'll see a lot of hitters like this go 3-2, foul pitches all over the ballpark. And the good hitters do that.
Yes. They take it out of your arm physically. They take it out of your body, and they take it out of your mind. Mentally, they work you. You know, how many times you hear pitchers talk about working through a Boston lineup, a New York lineup, and just how exhausted they are at the end of the game.
Ground ball up the middle, scooped by Dent. It's short, and the throw to first is in time. Kochman extended the at-bat. The Rays score one and lead 7-3. Miss all the great moments in store during the Rays opening week. Friday, April 1st through Wednesday the 6th. The Rays take on the Orioles and the Angels. So visit RaysBaseball.com and get your tickets today for all of the fun at Tropicana Field to open the brand new season. Marky Mark.
But I know.
Blaring here.
Enjoying that in-between innings music of Marky Mark.
Todd was enjoying that.
Yes, he will.
So much so that our producer and directors in tandem would not show it.
One and the same.
Yeah. Juan Cruz. Cruz, the fourth Rays pitcher. Well, he has had a pretty good spring overall, and he's to the point where Joe Madden is saying things like, well, if he stays healthy, everything's going to be fine with him.
Yeah, this is a very intriguing potential candidate for that Rays bullpen, coming off of surgery he had on his shoulder last May. He's with the Kansas City Royals. He's got a good arm, good fastball. You see it right there, working that thing downhill on the outside corner.
First pitch is a strike.
Good breaking stuff. He's had a good spring. The whole key for Juan Cruz is showing Joe and the staff that he's fully recovered from that surgery on his shoulder and can go back-to-back days and be able to handle the rigors of pitching out of the bullpen. And so far, they have held him back a little bit without going back-to-back days. In fact, I think he hasn't had an outing yet where he hasn't had at least 2 days rest, being very cautious with them because they understand if they got a guy here that can really help them, and it'd be nothing worse than to try to rush him back quick in spring training and potentially hurt himself.
Yeah, and at this point, Madden seems to be pretty confident that he'll get to that point and be just fine.
Yep. Well, he could be a real shot in the arm for the back end of that bullpen.
Two balls, two strikes. And now full count to Spears. ninth. Well, the Rays have been pretty good about walks all year as a staff this spring anyway. They've given up 6 tonight.
Yeah, not typical for this staff.
That's been one of the bright spots of the spring for the pitching staff. Cruz misses upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Cruz out of the Dominican Republic. There's a line drive grab by Lopez and a quick throw to first. Back in is Spears.
Well, Felipe Lopez had a chance there. Couldn't get the ball out of his glove cleanly. A little bit of a hesitation allowed Spears to be able to get back to the bag.
And the pitch to Wagner, the catcher's in there for a strike. Back. You know, Cruz was one of those guys. We're talking about his age, and he's now 32. He'll be 33 late this late in the year, which would be, I think, in October sometime. But he's one of those guys. When he was originally signed by the Cubs out of the Dominican Republic, it turned out that he was 2 years older than they thought he was. And so Wagner's out on strikes. So that apparently was addressed a few years ago. So, I mean, he might actually be 32.
It's anybody's guess. Just keep throwing pitches like that.
Exactly. So, I mean, you've got that. That's already resolved. You know, it's not that he's suddenly going to be a couple more years, but apparently that was worked out through the consulate. So we're pretty confident he is 32.
Are we?
Oh my. Hassan up there, the runner takes off, the pitch is a strike. Into second base goes Spears. This is Hassan's first plate appearance tonight. He's the right fielder now.
Had that nice play out in right field, getting Dan Johnson at home plate. Boy, good off speed there by Juan Cruz after that fastball in the previous pitch. Had some hair on it. Right there, you take a little bit, add and subtract. Here it is. Way out in front. Good pitch.
So the Rays trying to close it out here. Two balls, two strikes.
I'll tell you what, that slider way out of the strike zone, but the late break on that, Hassan almost started his swing. Usually you don't see a hitter even remotely offer at a pitch that far out of the strike zone, but that late movement, got a hard slider.
And boy, that was quite a slider there to end it.
Again, way off the plate, still gets the swing.
Cut and a miss. Hassan is out of there, and the Rays are winners. It's a 7-3 final here tonight. In the ninth, no runs with a man left on base. And the Rays win their 9th game of the spring. 7-3 over Boston. We'll be back to chat with Joe Madden in a moment.